Buenas tardes, hello. Hello everybody, good afternoon, boa tarde. I am Andrea Coronato. I'm researcher of CADIC CONICET at Ushuaia in Argentina. I am also one of the IAG vice presidents and the Latin American co-opter of IAG. IAG is the International Association of Geomorphologists, as you may know. Together with my colleague from Universidade Federal de Bahia in Brazil, Grace Alves, we are in charge to coordinate this fourth IAG webinar to celebrate the 2024 International Week of Geomorphology for this part of the world, for our Central and South American territories. This is an official activity of IAG, so the presentations and some lectures must be in English. But anyway, we also use Spanish and Portuguese, our local languages, for some lectures, for questions, for comments. So please feel free to participate in any of the three languages. All of them are accepted. Buenas tardes a todos, ahora en español por las dudas. Soy Andrea Coronato, soy investigadora de CONICET en el CADIC, en Ushuaia, y una de los vicepresidentes de la Asociación Internacional de Geomorfólogos, más conocida como IAG o IAG, y además soy representante para Latinoamérica de esta asociación. Y hoy, junto con Grace Alves, mi compañera de la Universidad Federal de Salvador de Bahía y secretaria de la Unión de Geomorfología de Brasil, estamos encargadas de organizar y de llevar adelante este cuarto webinar para celebrar la Semana Internacional de la Geomorfología del año 2024. Esta es la cuarta oportunidad en que nos reunimos en esta primera semana de marzo para realizar esta actividad. Les decía que como es una actividad oficial de IAG, el idioma oficial es el inglés. Por eso abrimos la reunión hablando en inglés. Pero de todos modos podemos hablar en español, en portugués, y les pedimos a todos que por favor se sientan libres de hacer preguntas, comentarios en cualquiera de los tres idiomas, porque todos son aceptados. Grace?
Boa tarde. Boa tarde a todas e todos. Eu sou a Grace Alves, sou professora na Universidade Federal da Bahia, sou secretária da União de Geomorfologia Brasileira e estou aqui junto com a Andrea Coronato, pesquisadora do CADIC CONICET em Ushuaia, Argentina, também vice-presidente e representante da América Latina no IAG. Nós estamos encarregadas de dar boas-vindas a todos e todas que estão aqui assistindo o quarto webinar para celebrar a Semana Internacional de Geomorfologia. Por esta ser uma atividade do IAG, né, da Associação Internacional de Geomorfologia, nós utilizaremos o inglês em algumas apresentações. Também vamos comentar e perguntar e discutir em espanhol e português, que são as nossas línguas locais. Então, por favor, se sintam à vontade de fazer perguntas em português, em espanhol, em inglês, a que for mais conveniente, que nós iremos repassar para os jovens profissionais de geomorfologia que estão apresentando hoje, para que a gente tenha aí uma rica tarde. Andrea.
6 young geomorphologists from Costa Rica, Brazil, Chile, and Argentina, some of them living abroad or working abroad, are the protagonists of this webinar, in which they will share their results coming from postdoctoral studies or coming from their participation in research projects. We want to deeply thank to all of them. 6 geomorfólogos de Costa Rica, de Brasil, de Chile y de Argentina son los protagonistas del webinar de 2024 y ellos van a compartir con nosotros los resultados de sus estudios doctorales, postdoctorales o de resultados de los proyectos de investigación en los que están o estuvieron involucrados. Queremos agradecer profundamente. We want to deeply thanks to Raquel Granados Aguilar from Costa Rica, but living in the United States. João Paulo Soares de Cortes and Renata Jordan Enríquez de Brasil. A Ignacio Ibarra Cofré de Chile, aunque viviendo en el Reino Unido y trabajando en Reino Unido. Y también a Mariana Correas González y a Damián Groch, ambos de Argentina. A todos les agradecemos ser parte de esta actividad. We are very thankful to all of them to accept to be part of this activity.
Teremos, então, 6 profissionais em geomorfologia dos países Costa Rica, Brasil, Chile e Argentina, alguns destes vivendo e trabalhando fora da América Latina, que vão compartilhar com a gente os resultados de suas pesquisas. Gostaríamos de agradecer, então, a Raquel Granados Aguilar, da Costa Rica, João Paulo Soares de Cortes e Renata Jordan Henriques, do Brasil, Ignacio Barra Cofré, do Chile, Mariana Correas Gonzalez e Damián Groch, da Argentina, por terem aceitado esse convite para fazer a apresentação de seus trabalhos hoje aqui. Muito obrigada.
We hope the dissemination of the results of their work will motivate to other young researchers, students, and professionals to discover the remaining questions about landforms and processes of the Earth's surface, and their interaction with the atmosphere, lithosphere, and biosphere, as well as with the society and its infrastructure. Also, we hope to reach the IAG intention to promote this type of meetings, useful to know each other's, and to strengthen geomorphology in our continent. Esperamos que la difusión de los trabajos de nuestros disertantes sea una fuerte motivación para otros jóvenes estudiantes, investigadores, jóvenes profesionales, para descubrir los interrogantes que aún se nos presentan cuando estudiamos o cuando nos plantamos frente a geoformas y procesos que modelan o que han modelado la superficie de nuestro planeta. Cuando nos interrogamos acerca de sus interacciones con la atmósfera, con la litosfera, con la biosfera y con la sociedad que sobre ellos habita y sobre la que implanta su infraestructura. Asimismo, también es intención de la IAG que estos encuentros sirvan para reunirnos anualmente, para conocernos, para fortalecer el desarrollo de nuestra disciplina en nuestro continente americano.
Esperamos que a divulgação dos resultados dessas pesquisas possam servir como motivação para jovens pesquisadoras e pesquisadores, estudantes e profissionais para buscar as questões associadas às geoformas e aos processos que têm modelado a superfície de nosso planeta, assim como suas interações com a atmosfera, litosfera, biosfera, com a sociedade e o espaço produzido. Assim, esperamos que essa proposta do IAG possa acontecer anualmente para que possamos conhecer e fortalecer o desenvolvimento da geomorfologia em nosso continente.
Okay, no more words. It's time to start with our first presentation, ¿no? Ya es momento de presentar a nuestra primera disertante.
Sem mais palavras, a gente passa então para as apresentações. Por favor, André. Now, João Paulo Soares de Cortes will present us his work. He's geographer and did graduate studies in geoscience and environment at Unesp, in the Universidade Paulista Júlio de Mesquita Filho, in São Paulo, Brasil. Currently, he is professor at Universidade Federal do Oeste do Pará, em Santarém, no Pará, também no Brasil. His presentation title is How Sample Geomorphic Variables Can Improve Our Understanding on Megarivers Evolution and Dynamics in Amazonia. como as variáveis geomórficas simples podem melhorar nossa compreensão sobre a evolução e dinâmica de megarios na Amazônia. João, você pode compartilhar a sua apresentação com a gente e iniciá-la. Now you can share your presentation, please.
Well, okay, so first of all, thank you very much for everyone here. It's a big pleasure to be here celebrating geomorphology this week with IAG and UGB and, you know, all of you, our colleagues. I'll talk a little bit of our work here in Amazon. With the Tapajós Mega River. Let me, 1 second. And well, I'm talking of how simple geomorphic variables can improve our understanding of megarivers evolution and dynamics in Amazonia. So, well, first of all, how did we get here? So this is I'll start with a little personal history about how the whole thing was like developed. So we started this project in the more or less in the middle of my PhD, and then I moved to Amazon, so I had very little time to get to comprehend the Amazonian landscape. And so it was a project with a very short time, minimal funding, almost none, and a huge challenge, which was understanding an aspect of the fluvial Amazon system with very limited opportunities for field work. Field work here is very difficult and very expensive as well. So we started gathering all available spatial data, especially the free ones. And I took a close look to the nautical charts, and it helped us to start to looking and to understanding a little bit of the channel geomorphology at the Tapajós River. So, well, just like an overview of the situation here. We're talking about the largest hydrographic system in the world. We have like roughly 20% of the available fresh water, plus then 7,000 kilometers in length, the main trunk of the Amazon, which discharges an average of 600 to 800 million tons of sediment per year in the Atlantic. So it's a huge system, and there is nothing similar in the world to compare with it. Just for us to have an idea, this is a list of the major rivers in the world, and all of them in red, which are highlighted in red, are in the Amazon basin, or it's like a part of the big Amazon system. And the Orinoco is in the Amazon region. So basically you have like a lot of the fresh water concentrated here. And here is the Tapajós. Can you guys see the mouse cursor there?
Yeah, you can see that.
Okay, thank you very much, Luis. And well, to talk a little bit more of that, it's nice to get to know about RIAs, right? So RIAs are very interesting geomorphological features. They're not familiar to everyone because they're also very specific. So RIAs are post-glacial features, typically coastal, resulting from the drowning of an ancient river valley system or estuary. In the continental environment, it manifests as a sudden widening of a river channel. The Amazonian RIAs are the world furthest known RIAs in the continental zone. So this is the RIA in Portugal, Here we have a area in Spain, and here the area we're talking of, which is the Lago Verde in Alter do Chão in Santarém. Those features, they are like arranged in a fractal way. So here we got the Lago Verde, but we actually talking of the Tapajós area, which is this part of the channel, like very widened in the down part of the river, right? It's like it's a huge fluvial feature. It has like more than 150 kilometers length, and it's also very wide. It has more than 20 kilometers one margin to another. As far as I know, it's the largest wide open freshwater channel in the world. The Tapajós is a very important river, is a main tributary in the Amazon. 1% of the world's water it's coming through here. And it's in a basin under strong pressure, especially for land use changes, deforestation, land conversion, and mega projects as the Ferrogrão and São Luís power plants dam. So it has like an environmental pressure to understand the system, right? An environmental reason. Our objectives here are to present our channel classification system, which we made before going to field work. And after this classification, we are able to go to field work. So we got also able to discuss how channel geomorphology influences matter and energy distribution within the system, considering hydrological, sedimentological, and genetic perspectives. Well, so here are our methods. The first thing we did, after looking at those nautical charts, we changed that into a DMM, a digital elevation model. And so we were able to look at the channel morphology. So we then divided this channel in those cross profiles here. They are apart one from another from 5 kilometers. So I don't remember exactly how many cross sections we had. And we basically look at width and depth dependent variables. So very simple variables we extract from each cross section. And we also look at canal symmetry. We're talking of that shortly. We clustered those variables like in a statistical way. And then we went to field work to test our model with granulometry and geochemistry data. Now it's like guided by the cross-sectional profile classification we had. So what we learned about the Tapajós area and channel in this area? Well, the first thing, which we got more details in this paper here, but is that those variables, they showed us three statistically very well structured groups. So I'm passing this to the map because I'm a geographer. This is how I can think of better. So here are the groups. We have a yellow group right here in the upper section. We have a central one, red group, and then we have a blue one here. What we can say about that? Well, this is the narrow part. We call that the narrow channel reach. Here we have a more confined channel. So we can see here in the profiles, right? The channel it's very confined in one of the channel sides, margins, close to one of the margins. And then at the end, this channel get deeper, more symmetric with distinct marked levels. So we have like 2 or 3 levels at the mouth of Tapajós where it finds the Amazonas. When you look at the asymmetry index, which was another variable we get from those cross-sectional profiles, the most interesting thing is that the wavelength reflects the clustering of segments. So as far as we move from the clusters, the wavelength also changes. And another thing is that in the central part of it, we have like the higher values for asymmetry, so the biggest asymmetry. Well, what we have to what we've got to have in mind from that is that this is based on the Knighton's experimental and conceptual model, which will say that the greater the symmetry of the channel, the more evolved it is. So what Knighton was thinking of and was seeing in his experiments, and it was confirmed after that, is that as time passes by, the channel tends to get more asymmetric, right? So we have like a kind of a time linked variable here. This is just to show how those different reaches respond to different products. So we have at the bottom here bathymetry. Here we got the optical image, a sentinel composition, and here we got a SAR image. Here we've got the hydrogeosedimentary model we were able to do after that. So we've got the whole Tapajós system. The Tapajós, it's very important to mention, it's got more than 1,000 kilometers, the main trunk. So it's a massive river in a massive basins, like a continental scale basin in South America. So the sediments come through here. And when it comes to the RIA, which has more like a lake, it behaves more like a lake in hydrological terms. It changes to the two type of channels we've seen. The red one and the blue one, we divided here by two, because in the upper part of it, it's an important source of importance of the Amazon waters. Especially during the high Amazon waters, when we've got like the sedimentation coming from Amazon. One thing that was interesting is that when we look just for the images in plain sight, we are not able to differentiate, to divide those very different parts of the channel. Like we have this downside of the channel and this middle side of the channel. They just look quite alike when we look in plain view. So this is the first like highlight we can get. Here the geomorphological evolution we could trace after that, so we could imagine those two conditions. One in Pleistocene, where we were more centered in a longitudinal erosion. So this valley was eroding downward and upward, and we had more like an incision going on, and that shaped the kind of a canyon type valley. Now, what we've got in the Holocene is more like a filling conditions channel. When we've got this, I want to point out, I will show you guys later on that we've got this sedimentation here, this more coarse sedimentation here in the limit of NCR reach. And the center part of it's kind of a relic feature, right? When we've got how the channel should have been during Pleistocene, when it got that canyon-shaped type of channel. So the wide asymmetry indicates a long evolutionary path for the central part of the channel. And here's some the results from field work, so from geochemistry and grain size analysis, or in other words, from matter and energy. I think this photo it's very illustrative of what we're talking here, because it's the photo from the first sample we got from the bottom sediments. It's very hard to get samples there. We could get deepens of more than 30, 40 meters. So it's not easy to get that. So here's the matter, and the energy is myself. I was quite happy with like this next phase of our study. And here it's how we could like from the classification we had, it's how we thought of this new phase of the experiment. So we traced 4 main cross sections here. They were representing the lower here reach, the higher here reach, and the narrow channel reach. So the different parts of the channel we got in the previous section. And then we went to see how those variables were responding to different parts of the channel. Here is a geological map. We can see in yellow here, the alluvial deposits I just showed you guys in the evolutionary model. So we knew that they were there before. And I also would like to point out the presence of laterite crusts on the top of the plateaus here. They will be important for our understanding of the geochemical patterns we observed after that. We also could see like interesting features inside the channel, like the Amorim Fan Delta, which is right here, the Arapari Island, which is right here, and I mean, a downward finding sediment, just forgot the word, I mean, pattern, that's it. This is the geochemistry of major and heavy elements. We got more details in this paper here. I'm not fixing into that. Again, I'm going to the maps. So here, what we did was to cluster those results into statistical meaningful clusters, right? So those clusters showed us that we have different features that we can see inside the channel. Those clusters were able to differentiate different parts of the channel. For instance, the Arapari Island right here, or the Amorim Fan I just told you guys, which is right here. So it's a separate cluster, right? Some insights we had from sediment sources. By now, it is understood that the RIA has 4 main known sources. The first of them is the Tapajós itself. So this massive basin, which comes from central Brazil to Amazon. So it was previously thought that this is the main source of sedimentation inside the channel around this area. A secondary, the Amazon. The Amazon is coming to the confluence here, and the influence is more in the downward part of the channel. Organic sediments, which are derived from the lake dynamics, right? So we have like very slow waters, and it helps us to develop like organic sedimentation. And the last one, sedimentations that come from the margins here. When we say sedimentations come from the margins, we're talking about this very small streams here, which are eroding the plateaus, right? They are very, very tiny little streams here. Well, when we look at the iron and the zircon values here, the first thing is that apparently there is actually an important source from iron from the laterite crust around here. So it seems that those very small streams, they are actually important to sedimentation inside the area. So this is also a new thing to think about. And it makes sense when we think that the hydrodynamics here, it's much more close to a lacustrine environment than from an open fluvial channel. Another thing that was very interesting to note is that, well, till this time, all the in-depth studies taken on the area were carried out by longitudinal sampling. In this area, in the Amazon itself, in other areas in Amazon. So what it's normally made is that great expeditions come collecting samples along the river. So the people analyze how those samples will variate along a longitudinal profile, right? And what we understood here is that it's very, very important to get to know the transversal variation inside those cross profiles, right? Because depending on the path you can do inside the channel, you can at the same time to get like a pattern. Let's take the iron, for instance. You take a pattern where the iron increases or decreases. So it's very, very important to know what exactly are you sampling. It's very important to know the shape of the channel, the kind of features you're sampling net. It's not enough to just to get further and further around samples and then to interpret those data. Here, just some image of different environments we got there. Sandbars, island. Here, the laterites we got on the top of the plateaus, and the scarp retreat we see in the margin of the Tapajós River. Here, a synthesis model we did. I'm not coming like too much into it because we got that in the paper and I'm not controlling my time here, sorry. So I think I might have like going like too much on it, but basically we were able to describe different things that were happening in those different cross sections. It's like talking about hydrodynamics, energy flow, velocity, geochemistry of those samples. And then the concluding remarks we have is that, well, the identified reaches are crucial for segmenting the channel into manageable research and also political units. So it's very important to know those different parts. I mean, we started from a huge thing. I mean, we have here like 200 kilometers of channel with a channel that can get like 20 kilometers wide. So it's like it's a world of water here. And then we were able to get to 4 much more simple situations to interpret it and to get data from. Variation in cross-sectional profile aids in understanding matter and energy flows in the channel. The observed channel features are partly remnants of the Pleistocene Amazon story. It's very important to get this in a timely manner as well, right? Geomorphology and land use significantly contribute to sediment filling in the area. So this is very interesting because we're talking about the source of sediments, but we are also talking about land use here. So deforestation, pesticides, those kind of things are actually coming into the area, which is a very important source of feeding to the people who lives in the river margins. So it's very nice to have this in mind. Complex behavior with seasonal variation and distinct feeding sources is evident in matter and energy flows. So when we understand those matter and energy flows, we are able to get a much more precise view of the system in itself, and to think how this physical system will interact with the social systems which depend on it, which is the case of basically the whole Amazon fluvial system. The next steps, we're thinking of the mapping habitats along typical profiles associated with a more robust investigation of flows is a very promising next step in characterizing the channel and obtaining a more realistic approximation of the diversity within this unique feature on the planet. So that's it. We're thinking of that. It's like as long as we have those very simplistic types of channel, and we more or less understand how they work, we can start thinking of habitats and the ecological importance of that. We can then think of carbon sequestration. I mean, there's a lot of things that can come from there, fishing stocks and stuff. Okay, so that's it. Thank you very much, and that's it. I'm open to talking.
Okay, thank you, João. Just a quickly answer about bathymetric data. A pergunta é como é que foram obtidos os dados batimétricos. Se você puder falar bem rapidinho para a gente já passar para a próxima, que está no horário.
Como é que foram o quê? Desculpa.
Obtidos os dados batimétricos.
Okay, so this bathymetric data, it is available from the Brazilian Navy, right? So they have those charts. Those charts are used for navigation, and they are updated from time to time. So what I did basically was to take those TIF images, and manually I got point from point. I mean, I had no much more ways to get out of this trap. So then it actually becomes a very interesting source of data for us.
Okay, João. Thanks. Very, very interesting our presentation.